We want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. This week, we celebrate two significant days in our country that we will highlight in this episode. First of all, we celebrated Veterans Day this past Tuesday, and so that obviously is a huge deal for all of us personally, but as a country, it should be something that's big. Yeah. And very much thank you to all the veterans and those that have served over the years in all of the armed forces. But we also celebrated a pretty significant birthday for this room and so many others. The Marines, the United States Marine Corps, turned 250 years old. Yep. So it's, November 10th, 1775, which is crazy to think about. But like you guys, turned 250.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. I mean, Marines
it's a
treat
really big deal.
that day, arguably bigger than regular individual birthdays. Like, that's the day that
100%.
There are Marines that I hear from on that day that I don't hear from the rest of the year. I'm getting text messages, and I got a FaceTime call from one of the Marines who I was their staff and CO in Okinawa. And I mean, Mike and I were sitting there watching the Eagles game, and that was on the birthday. And I get this FaceTime call, and luckily I had him in my stored contacts, but it's like, wait, wow. I mean, it's been 10 years since I've really actually talked to the guy.
I didn't even recognize him. Like,
really?
Yeah, I didn't know who it was at first.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because Micah remembered him, because, I mean, I would have the guys over to the house and stuff. And, I mean, this guy's out of the Marine Corps now, and he looks like Sasquatch.
He looks like it,
Just all like, doesn't shave, doesn't cut the hair, doesn't, No.
But it was neat, because it's one of those things. I mean, this is how the camaraderie of the armed forces works. You know, he calls me up, and we just start chatting for the next 20 minutes as though we had just been serving together yesterday.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the coolest things.
Yeah. And so obviously we're celebrating those things because of the significance of what it means to our country. But obviously for those that don't know your guys' story and who you are, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. For those that don't know, this is a father-son duo. And Rick has always been tall, but he gets dwarfed now. And it is crazy. We were talking about this as they came, because we haven't seen Micah in a little bit. And as he was back at church on Sunday, everybody was like, man, has he gotten taller? And it might've been just, you dropped a little bit of weight in boot camp, because that's natural, but, you're 6'7" as it is.
Yeah. So, currently.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so it's, one of the very few people that has to like bend over to give me a hug. Yeah. And so like, as I went over to give you a hug, I was already over the chairs, and I'm like, man, I got to like stand on my tiptoes. Like, this is weird. But so introduce yourselves and, just a little bit about your story. I know, Rick, you served for 21 years in the Marines, and you've been on the podcast a number of times. Last Veterans Day, you were one of the veterans that were on to talk about your experience. And Micah just got done with boot camp in the Marines. And so it's something that we're going to have a chance to talk through that with what is going on in our country as far as, just celebrating Veterans Day and the Marines' birthday. But give us like a 1 to 2 minute snapshot, Rick, for those that don't know who you are.
Sure.
Of your time in military and, just a quick synopsis of your career, a little bit of what you did.
1 to 2 minutes. Whew.
Yeah, I know. And that's, so everyone listening that does know you knows it'll be like more like 5 or 6, but anyways.
I will do my best. I joined in 1999, right out of high school. We'll probably talk about this a little more later, but I worked one last summer at the WLD Ranch before I went in. I joined as a 18-year-old kid. I went into signals intelligence, which at the time I knew nothing about, but obviously, you learn over time. And then I 21 years, traveled the world, was stationed everywhere a Marine really could be stationed. Because the Marine Corps, we're not like other branches, we really can't be stationed everywhere around the world because we're a slim force. So Camp Lejeune, Camp Pendleton, California, Okinawa, Japan, Virginia, Quantico, several deployments. I deployed twice to OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom, twice to Afghanistan, several different detachments and exercises and things, Philippines, Guam, Korea. Got married when I was a sergeant, and I was like 4 or 5 years into the Marine Corps. I've obviously been extremely happily married ever since then. So Heather has been very much through this whole journey by my side every step of the way. 3 kids born in 3 different states, which is
None of them here.
so, none of them here.
Yes.
Which is so
Not even
typical.
close to you.
Yeah. So just real quick.
Yeah.
Where were the 3 born? Because Mike is the oldest.
Yep, he was the oldest, and he was born when we were stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. So he
Okay.
was born actually in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Yeah.
Addie was born when I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, so she was born at Riverside Hospital in Southern California.
Yeah.
And then Haley was born on Camp Lejeune,
Okay.
North Carolina. So
Yeah.
So our 3 kids are very diverse in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I retired in 2020, right in the middle of COVID. Moved back to Erie County, Pennsylvania, and kind of started to put down roots. Where we always definitely felt like we would come back here. I was glad that the Lord paved the way for that to happen, and we've been here ever since for 5 years, and that's the snapshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was actually a very good job. Better than expected. So
Yeah, I'm actually astonished.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was very
that's good.
difficult.
Oh man, but we'll talk more about it later.
Right.
As we get into the nuts and bolts of things.
Yep.
But I already mentioned that you just graduated boot camp, Micah. So like, when I say just, like, what day was your graduation day, and when did you actually go in and all that stuff?
Graduated a couple days ago on the 7th. So what's today, the 12th, 13th, something like that?
Yeah, 12th, and it'll air tomorrow
Yeah.
on the 13th.
Yeah, so a couple days ago.
literally, it was last Friday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that Friday. I came in on the 12th. So just like he did, I had one last summer at the ranch, which was nice.
Yeah.
And then I had, like a week and a half, 2 weeks of a break before I left. So but it's how I wanted it. So I was either going to go right after I graduated high school or right after the ranch, because I didn't want to just sit around
is bad.
and wait and do nothing. So yeah, August 12th to November 7th. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was. We'll talk about the experience and everything coming up, but just on a very practical note, what's the next step for you? Like, how long are you home for, and then where are you going from here?
Yeah, so I'm home for another week and a half. I think currently I'm leaving the 23rd of November to go to my combat training.
Yeah.
Marine combat training is in Camp Geiger, North Carolina. So I'll be there for, I think it's around 3 weeks. Normally it's 4 weeks, but because it's around Christmas, they're like shorten it a little bit so that we're not, because none of the instructors are going to be there. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah.
And then I'll be there, and then I'll have a little bit of time to be home because it's around the holidays and the schoolhouse isn't going to be open. So after that, I'm guessing in like early January, probably around the 5th or so, I'll go to my schoolhouse to learn my MOS, my job, which is communications, which is in 29 Palms, California.
Okay.
And then I'll be there for around, I think it's 7 months. To
Okay.
learn it, so
And so you do have a few weeks back in North Carolina before you head out to California. And so describe when people hear California, like, oh, that's beautiful.
no.
Not this place.
It's a different kind of
it
beauty.
is.
So like
Not
29
29 Palms,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's in the middle of the desert.
Yes,
like,
okay.
You
That's-
look, if you look up pictures, it's like it's a base surrounded by sand and mountains.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's literally nothing.
Yeah.
So
And so it's you can concentrate on the task at hand.
Right, yeah,
When you
keep-
go out there.
I'm sure it saves a lot of Marines from getting in trouble.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's
there's
true.
that.
That's true. But you head out there, and that'll be 7 months.
Yeah.
And then at that point, will you get your first like 3-year station?
Yeah. So after I'm done with the schoolhouse, they'll give me my orders to whatever the next unit is that I'll be attached to. Which I mean, currently I have no clue. Like I know that I have MCT and then the schoolhouse, but then after that I have no clue what it is. So
Yeah.
I'll figure that out.
And that'll be at some point in your schooling. If it's like some of the other armed forces, won't you get a chance to at least give your input of your top 3 places, and then it's like a roll of the dice whether you get it because it's based on needs and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean they'll say it's like you have your dream sheet, so it's, you pick whether you want to be West Coast in Hawaii, East Coast, overseas. And I think that's
it.
Yeah,
Okay,
those
so
are the
it's-
choices you have. But
And overseas is basically Okinawa, Japan. There's no other.
yeah, there's not
option.
really any.
It's Okinawa, Japan. Yeah.
And at that point, it's like if you want to go West Coast and there's spots open, then they'll put you there. But if you're trying to go overseas and they have no need for it, then you're probably not gonna.
Yeah, you won't
probably
get
not
it.
gonna get it. So
Yeah, and obviously, you guys know a little bit about Okinawa
Yeah.
and spending 3 years there.
And I
So
feel like
I would definitely love to go back.
I feel like you would love
that'd be
to go
awesome.
back.
I'd love to, but
Yeah. Depends on if they need, you
Right.
know, and do you want to go back there right away? You know, and that's
Yeah.
the
That's the
question.
hard part, yeah.
I was just saying, but your parents have a trip, you know, in the not so distant future to Japan that they're starting to plan.
Right.
Now, granted, it's a mission trip, but they'd make
Yeah.
some time to see you if you were over there. No,
Yeah, I'm sure.
they would. And as we were there, the missionaries said, like, wait a second, like you could get us on base and like buy stuff. Like,
Yeah,
Their eyes lit up.
that could.
yeah, they were
could happen.
they were excited about that.
Yeah.
And so as we dive in a little bit to just the whole thing, one thing that you know we've discussed before, Rick, is what was the reason that you enlisted in the Marines?
Yeah.
But again, for those that don't know, just a real quick snapshot before we ask Micah, after a lifetime of
Right.
experiencing
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
like what made you go in, but like talk us through, go back to that 17-year-old, like what were some of the things that enticed you about it and why you made that decision?
So as a 17-year-old, I knew that I didn't like academics.
Yeah.
I was not really a great student. The prospects of college and the prospects of knowing I would have to pay for it. You know, none of that really looked attractive to me. It didn't look fun. But I also knew that staying in Albion, Pennsylvania with no real job skills, I didn't want to do that either. I wanted to do something. So military was on my mind. And then, when I talked with the Marine recruiter, there was something about like, okay, so if I'm going to do the military, I don't know, I can't explain it, but there was just something in me that, and this is not a jab at the other forces, but I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to do the hardest one, the most challenging one, the one that I thought looked the best in uniform. So it's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to, I want to go all the way. So I was like, the Marine Corps, and that really surprised numerous people, especially my family, even that I would choose that. But that was really the main reason for me joining was I did not like the prospects of what I was going to do here, and I knew that college was probably going to be a not a profitable endeavor for me. So it made sense. And then there's, once you start to look into it deeper and it's like, well, okay, the travel, the things that I would gain, the thing, because I didn't have a lot of discipline, whatever I knew about it at the time, I knew that I didn't have much of it. You
learned.
I mean? Yeah, right. I wanted to it's so cliche, but I wanted to make something of myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to broaden my horizon, to just do something different, do something exciting, learn something in the process, and not just kind of bum around at home and figure it out, quote unquote. So that was really most of the motivation for it. It was not, there was no overwhelming like I love my country and want to serve it. That comes. For sure. That comes with time, but that wasn't like the driving force. It wasn't like a family history of it. My Uncle Jack had served in the Marine Corps. That might have played a small role, but it was small because really it was just me wanting to break away from the mold of the Albion, Pennsylvania culture. And obviously looking back, I'm very thankful that I did.
And so as you knew that story, you were nowhere around, obviously, when that happened. But like, as you came and knew your family story and all that, there are definite pros and cons. To being a military family, and we won't go into all of that. But like, what was it like? At what point did you start thinking, "Hey, maybe this is for me"?
So when I was either a junior or senior, I think I actually don't remember, but I originally wanted to do something with engineering. Like my goal was to go to probably Penn State for engineering, and then carry it on through there. And then our school took a trip to Edinburgh University, and I think it was when we were junior. We were going through like the different engineering labs or whatever. I was like, this like looks atrocious. Like, I do
This
not
was
want to do
not
this.
what I thought. Yeah.
No. And I'm the same way as he is. I'm not strong academically whatsoever. I just didn't like do good. Well, I just didn't care enough to.
I would say you're a smart kid. Make no
I
mistake.
didn't want to do it. So I knew that, like, at that point, I was like, all right, college is probably not going to work out. And if I end up going that route, it's going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was kind of like looking around for whatever else to do. And then I got a text randomly from a recruiter from the Marines. And I was like, oh, well, that might be my sign from God to go Marines.
Yeah.
And so just talking with him a little bit through that, and then ended up going to MEPS and enlisting. That was kind of the process with that. So,
And I should say too, it's because it's interesting. He spent most of his life. I would ask him periodically because people would even ask me, like, "Hey, do you think your son will ever follow your footsteps?" And it was always a firm nope, like not a thought about it. He saw
There
the
was
life.
no hesitation between the question and
Never.
the no.
Zero.
Never.
Yeah.
He saw the life, and for most of his childhood, he did not want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So it was very, it was a very interesting moment when he kind of told Heather and I've been talking to a Marine recruiter, and I think my, eyes fell out of my head. Like, you've been doing what? Like, this is the opposite of everything you ever said you were going to do. You always said that you would never do this. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to go to college and I don't want to do this. And then what's great is that, like, we had backpacking trips together, and like we really got to talk through deeply about all of it. And
because you guys did a 50 miler.
we did.
Yeah.
We had
And
a lot
what
of
was
time
it
in the
like,
woods.
what is it, 50 miles in 50 hours or
50
something?
hours.
Yeah. So there was, you had some time to
We
talk
did
through stuff.
which we did that in 45. But
Did it a little faster.
but we did hash it out there, and it's funny. I could not argue with his logic or reasoning because it was identical to
It's
mine.
the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to really think through and all that. But I still remember when I was having a conversation with you, Rick, and maybe it was you and Heather, and I think I just asked a simple question. Hey, so what's Micah thinking of? And shortly after I had asked that, like, you're like, he actually talked to a recruiter. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, okay, like that, but it wasn't something that was on your radar really.
No,
and
not at
so
all.
like even having conversations with you, that never was really brought up.
Right.
And so it is
like, I'd never pushed him towards it.
Yeah.
It was very much his own decision. And then, like I said, once I heard his reasoning and that he had thought it through, it was a decision I very much supported. And Heather did too. It's a little different with mothers, and it always will
for
be.
sure.
I think she might have preferred he go that Penn State engineering route.
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
But
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but she knows what it did for me and how beneficial it was in my life and how much I gained from that career. And I think that she knows that he would gain the same.
Yeah, and in the same respect, just so Heather doesn't feel like we're throwing her under the bus,
right?
She's also been the most supportive, proud mother,
absolutely,
to have you walk this road,
100%.
to this point. So it's like,
absolutely,
even though that might have been a preference, there was zero transition to being like fully behind you in what you chose, and like, okay, yeah, let's go,
right? Sure.
Like you know what's coming, and you know what, but it's And speaking to that, like, you know what's coming. How much did you and your dad talk about boot camp? What was to come? And how much of it was, like I talk about parenting. We read so much, Angie and I, and we had so many conversations and all that stuff. But I still remember the moment we brought Mal home, and I'm like, oh, crap, there's not a nurse, there's not a doctor, and panic set in because you don't know until you're there.
Right.
So, like, how much did he help, like, prepare you? But then how much of it was like, man, like, this is just like...
Honestly, not a lot, which isn't his fault. I just didn't... I mean, we would, like, talk about, like, I would have, like, random questions, like, what is this? What is that? How does that work? Whatever.
Yeah.
And there was that, but I think I remember it was like a couple days before I ended up leaving. He was like, so have you been like watching any videos or like research? And I was like, nope. It's like, I don't know. So I pretty much got there. Like,
a fails male wanted to just go on it on his own?
Yeah,
And like,
yeah,
that's surprising. So,
that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. I mean, because I remember they sent a letter. I think it was mom. It was like, so were you like in shock or what? And I was like, I don't even know. Like, I just went there and was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I didn't really have that shock or anticipation of whatever. I just kind of went with it. And
so you decided to go the route of I don't want to have any anticipation, so that way I just experience it.
Right.
You know, you knew the mentality was going to have to be, I just have to do whatever's put in front of me.
Yeah, and that's what it was with
part. Yeah,
most of it. Like since I was young, I like hated heights. So it's like obviously when you're there, like there's the Stairway to Heaven and all these other height obstacles and the rappel tower and all that other stuff. And it's like when you think about just like weeks later, like I have to do this, it just causes so much more of that like anxiety with it. Whatever. It's like just don't even think about it, and just like whenever you do it, like there in that moment, it's so much easier. Just
when
and what's interesting to that point, like explain, because you talked to me about those obstacles and explained how your fear of heights played into that, because it kind of went away, didn't it?
It just kind of vanished. So I don't know how that worked, but it's like, all right, whatever.
Well, I think part of it might be, hopefully a large part was God's role in it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But obviously also part of it is, I remember, a guy, the man that got me into coaching, his father was a gunner in World War II and was shot down behind enemy lines in Japan, I think 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And hoofed it out by himself.
That is crazy.
To like find, and there, he would always ask, like, Dad, how did you do it? Like, what, you got back in a plane? and like the positive peer pressure of like, he's like, well, what, nobody else was stopping.
Yeah.
Like, what was I going to do? Like, back out on my friends?
Right.
And so, like, when you're in that line to do whatever obstacle it was, it's like, what? I'm going to be the one to say no?
Right.
And
What choice do you
that's how it
have?
worked throughout the majority of it with not only me, but everyone else too. Because, I mean, there were definitely people that, like, just during, not even, like, specifically, like, height obstacles, but throughout everything else. I mean, like, when we were talking after, they're just like, well, everyone else is doing it, so I just did it too. Like,
there's no choice.
Yeah, you don't have that choice.
Yeah, and there is something positive about that.
Yeah.
Now with like pre-boot camp, and he's right. I mean, I could have spent days, weeks, or months, really trying to prep him.
Yeah.
But I also knew that really wouldn't even set him up for success. And like you said, Mal, to your point, at the end, you can be as prepped as you want, but when it smacks you in the face and you experience, it's all of that prep goes out the window. What does Mike Tyson say, right?
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
I was just saying. So I knew that was how I was going to. So I made sure he at least understood the basics. I did relate to him that, hey, be loud, be fast, immediate obedience to whatever orders you're given.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is I told my 6'7"
There's no discussion.
Right. There's not.
Yeah.
But what's also funny, I told my 6'7" son, it's best to keep a low profile.
Yeah, I know.
Which that didn't work at all. So that was nice.
You stuck out like a.
He had no hope of that.
Literally impossible to like.
He had no hope of that.
There's no you were above the radar. You didn't fly under the radar in any way.
They could see me. I mean, we had all of our drill instructors were shorter. Like there wasn't one over, I'd say, 5'10", except for our senior drill instructor. He was maybe like 6'2", I want to say. I mean, he was taller.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And even that, like every night we'd go behind the racks and like quote unquote scuzz or like just push all the dirt and dust and whatever else from like behind the racks, under the racks into the center highway so that it get swept up and whatever else. And as we're doing that, if I was a second too slow to drop down or I'm going slow or whatever, they still somehow see me from over on the other side of the squad bay, over through the racks, and they call it out. It's like, how did you see me?
All he hears is, fails, we see you. Fails, we see you.
That's exactly what they said.
That's like, what echoed in your nightmares.
Yes, he fails. You know I can see you, right? Yeah. It's like, how? It's like, actually, I didn't know because I can't see you, but...
that is hilarious. I'm sure you didn't think it was funny.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh man. So as you're going through boot camp and as you're doing everything, actually I want to wait to get to that. In this whole process, we talked about your father's 21 years in the service. you were alive for 14 of them, or no, 13,
15. No, it was 13. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he retired in 2020.
2020. Yeah, so
Yes.
you very much experienced over half. I mean, maybe you don't remember. Who knows when you start remembering? But
Yeah.
you remember a lot.
Yeah.
And so what did that? What role did that play into? Whether it was an encouragement, a deterrent, whether it was both or neither. Just what role did it play in the whole process? I guess.
Honestly, I think beforehand, like pre-boot camp, it didn't play a giant role.
Yeah.
But during it, I think like it got increasingly like more prevalent throughout everything, like the different events and everything else that we were doing. Like, I wonder how like this was whenever he went through, because I mean it was obviously different 20 however years ago.
26.
Yeah.
26
But
years
even
ago.
still, like there was still
Yeah.
some of the same stuff that we went through, and then like we would have conversations, me and the other people that were there, whether we were like on the Crucible, we had a lot of time where we're just like sitting in the woods, like posting security around like the different obstacles and whatever. We're all talking, and they're like, "Why am I here? Like, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
So then like having those conversations about like why we're actually doing this and what,
Yeah.
like why or how we're benefiting from it and whatever else. I'd say that's when it became more prevalent, because like what you said, I've definitely seen the benefits throughout my life and living it through the Marine Corps, and seeing how it's impacted him and his Marines that have like came over to our house and that I've been able to talk to and whatever else. So
Yeah. Yeah, and there's an element, and this is in anything in life, when you go through and experience something with someone, it differentiates.
Yeah.
Like you might have a friendship with someone else that's very, very deep and strong, but if they didn't go through whatever it is that you went through, it's not the same as someone else.
Right.
And I think maybe it's not even greater in the military, but I feel like there's an element of, like that's definitely something like, well, if you've never gone through boot camp, we just, you just don't understand.
Well,
I know
and
you've
that's
seen some
why it became-
movies, so you think you understand, but like that's not
Oh
reality.
yeah, and like Sister Addison, she was like, "So is it like the movie?" Or I think it might have been her and my English teacher, because my teacher sent me a letter too, and they're like, "So is it like the movies?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah, no, there's nothing glamorous.
Absolutely not. It is so different.
Yeah.
But like with what you were saying, like it definitely, once you go through the same thing with someone, it definitely like changes your like how you view it and how you think about it.
Yeah.
So
Just talk through boot camp. Maybe what were a couple highlights, and if you're willing to share a couple lowlights, what were some things that, I mean, you can never tell, but like if it's you 26 years from now, talking about this,
Right.
like I'm going to ask your dad the same thing. He'll have some memories that have stuck with him from boot camp. And so are there any things that you're like, man, I don't think I'm ever going to forget that?
Honestly, the like pre-range weeks, I think our grass week where we like learned all the fundamentals and everything was around, I'm going to say like week 6 maybe.
Yeah, it is 5 or 6.
Yeah, and then like table 1, so it's like grass week, you learn all your fundamentals, how to have the bone support, muscular relaxation, and I mean it was terrible. I hated grass week. You're just sitting in an open field aiming at a barrel for hours. I mean seriously, like 5 hours at a time. And it was hot grass week, so we're all like sweaty and sandy.
Yeah.
But then after that, table 1, where we actually start shooting, we're on range. I say table 1 and table 2 were probably my favorite weeks, and also my least favorite, because in the morning there's a separate chow hall down at the range. Yeah. So whenever we would go out there, we were like, "Oh, this is awesome," because it's so much newer. I don't know when they built it.
In the last 10 years, for sure.
It's very recent compared to the other one. It's however many years old.
It was not there when I was there.
But
we had different accommodations.
It is really nice. So whenever we get food there, it's a good day.
Yeah.
But then after breakfast, as soon as we were done eating, our drill instructor is like rushing us, and he's like, "We gotta go. We gotta get to our spots." And we know like we're not getting to our spots. It's still dark out. We're not shooting. Yeah. So we have all of our gear on. Probably I want to say like 40 pounds, because we have our our Kevlars, our flax, our rifles, and gear that we don't need, but we have it anyways.
Yeah, but you have it to get used to it.
And then we're walking down to the range. It's maybe, I don't know, like half a mile away from the chow, so it's not that bad. But and then we get close, and we already know it's coming. And he's like, "All right, turn off your flashlights." And we're like, "Oh, dang it!" So we turn them off, and then there's like these divots, these grass divots in between each of the yard lines. So we're doing laps like constantly, all up in them, with all of our gear on and everything, and no one can see us because our lights are off and we're in those divots. So if you look straight ahead, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
It's right after breakfast, so we're running like for at least like a half hour with all of our gear and everything on until either the sun comes up or our instructor gets there. Like we're praying, like just please give us some sunlight.
Yeah.
And whenever we saw headlights, we knew we were saved.
Yeah.
But I mean, just being, because I think like table 1 was like the actual like start of our like real training, because like before that it's like there's swim week, but that, I mean, you're swimming, it's whatever. The McMap is fun, the martial arts, and because it's after the different tables of shooting, you have your basic warrior training, which is we're out on Page Field, the old airstrip, and we're doing like the gas chamber and the rappel tower and land nav, night nav, all that other stuff that like is a lot of fun. And then the Crucible was, there was some parts in the moment where it was fun, then other parts it was like genuinely, why am I here?
Yeah. But you were questioning your life choices.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's even at the end of boot camp. I mean, a lot of people are questioning their life choices at the beginning, but you're in this crucible, and it's intended to be that way.
Absolutely.
It's the best they can do to kind of fabricate or manufacture some level of fog of war or chaos, and put these guys through that as the culminating event at the end of boot camp. And so they, even knowing that that's their culminating event, that's the last event, after that, it's really all downhill. Even in that moment, you're still like, I have made bad choices.
I mean, we didn't even know, like pretty much the entire time we're there, we get told what we're doing like 5 minutes before it happens. So, I mean, when we're all in there, like in formation, we don't know like if we're about to go to bed or what. And then like they start pulling out ammo cans and we're like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then we end up doing a 3 mile, however, I think it was 3 miles. They didn't tell us.
Yeah.
But I think it was that long of a hike, carrying these 30, however many pound ammo cans in like pitch black throughout the woods. But I mean, it's still a lot of fun, because even though you're doing all of that dumb stuff and whatever else, you're still doing it with all your buddies.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, it's there's an element of, well, I can't quit on them. Right. They're not going to quit on me. Yeah. So we're all in it together. Yeah. And it's not too bad.
It's hard to develop that trust, but I mean, once you get there, it is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rick, thinking back 26 years, what are some of the things that maybe that stick out to you most about boot camp?
For me, some similar things. I remember specifically doing some of the obstacles on the confidence course. And I remember when we first saw the confidence course, I was looking at these obstacles and I was thinking to myself, because I mean, anybody who knows me knows how scrawny and like not muscularly built I was at the time. And I'm looking at these obstacles. I'm like, there's no way. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this stuff. And I was really looking, it was in a couple of those, and like even the rappel tower and things like that. It's like, I don't legitimately think I can do that. But then you go and you just like, well, you have to put your head down and try. You got to give it everything you got. And then next thing you know, you're doing it. Yeah. And then you are done and you look back and you're like, wow, like I just did that. Yeah. The confidence, and that's all by design. And the confidence that starts to build when you get to that level of the training and you're accomplishing these things. You're scoring high on the rifle range, and you actually are rappelling, and you made it through the CS gas chamber. You're doing these things, and just piece by piece, slowly and surely, your confidence in what you can do, things that you never thought possible, becomes reality. And that's a huge part of boot camp. There's a reason for that, but I look back on that like that's when I just really I matured a lot in that time. Let's put it that way. And something that I think we should probably speak to is, the element that faith plays in.
Yeah.
Because, my faith was pretty strong going into boot camp. It definitely got stronger. But one of the reasons it got stronger is because I absolutely, I had a Bible that I read often, and I was armed with scriptures that were taught to me by this church and everything. And, relying on the Lord in so many aspects of boot camp, but then the follow-on training after that. Because the confidence grew in myself, but my confidence also grew in our God and how like these things that I just thought like impossible become possible. And at the end of it, I'm looking at myself and I know like that wasn't all me. It couldn't have been all me.
Yeah.
So just there's a double layer of confidence that builds in yourself and in your faith that I think is very powerful. And it's interesting. Micah can speak to this. Like, statistically, you take 85 young men and you put them in a room. Statistically, a certain percentage of them are probably already believers, but statistically, probably overwhelmingly, most of them are not. But I tell you what, that chapel is full every Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to speak to why that is?
So on Sundays, we knew like it would be a good day, and so did everyone too, because we go to breakfast right away, and then right when we get back, like the way they had it is like the Catholics would go to their church, and then the like Protestants would have the like 2 hours of free time, and then they'd switch. But what that meant was whenever you go to church, you get away from the squad bay, away from the drone instructors.
Yeah.
So I mean, there were people there that never have been to church before. But another nice part of that is like the kid next to me never. I guess his rack was next to me. Never went to church before. Never. Whatever else, but me and my rack mate, like we're both Christians, which that was. I shouldn't say it was a coincidence, but like it wasn't planned by us because like when we got to squad bay initially, we're all like running in there, getting rushed in there. So we just it's like, oh, no one's standing here. Guess it's mine now.
Yeah.
But we were both able to talk to the kid and like actually speak truth to him. And he like again, he was a part of the crowd that was just going to church to like have that escape from the drone instructors. Which reason why that's nice is that like there's those many people that have never been to church, but like they're hearing for the gospel for the first time, like they're hearing the songs, whatever, and then they have those questions. So like I mean, some nights we stayed up like two hours, like just talking to him and a couple other people too, like about just whatever random questions they had about what it means, about whatever else. And so I mean the chapel was definitely filled. But then there is that benefit of being able to talk and to plant those seeds to the people that are there because they don't nothing. They're just going there for that escape. So
and that's awesome where like that opportunity comes about, and like you said, it's not coincidence. God planned the fact that your bunkmate or whatever was a believer and having that ability, so it wasn't just you isolated. Still would have given you the words if it was just you isolated, but like having someone else that you could walk through. And what because I was going to ask, what role did faith play? Is there anything else that like you experienced through the time that you look back on and was like, like that was crucial to have my faith in that moment?
Honestly, I mean, I guess obviously throughout the whole thing, but like we would just have like a harder day where we're just getting messed up the whole day, or it's harder training or whatever else. And then just being able to, like, I brought a Bible that a lot of people throughout the church and my family, whatever, wrote stuff in, put stuff in, which was so nice because you can just look back and read it. It's like that reminder that there is a God who cares and loves us, and then the church family who cares about me and loves me too through this. But like when we did our initial PFT, that 3 mile, I never ran 3 miles in my life. The most I ran
I tried to get you to do it, man.
The most I ran before I got there was like maybe a mile and a half. Like, once every other week. Like I ran sometimes when I was at the ranch in the mornings. I'd wake up and run sometimes. But other than that, like the most I was running was a mile, and I mean the time was atrocious. So when like we're about to start running, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna run, Lord, but I need your strength for sure. And it's like after that, and then after whatever other training or whatever, it's like it's nice that I'm able to pray to a God that like is overseeing it and watches us, and like can actually carry me through that. So and like he said, it definitely like my faith absolutely grew exponentially through boot camp, because I mean I've been a follower my whole life, and I've been in the church constantly, but like just that growth being in there is crazy to see.
Well, you're tested in ways in boot camp that you've never been tested before. Yeah.
You had to put your money where your mouth was.
Right.
Yep, 100%.
And so it is the ability to then walk it out,
Yeah.
which is crucial in anywhere in life, whether it's, you know, you being tested at work or at school or whatever it might be. But boot camp is just a little bit more of a testing. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a neat thing. One of the things that I was curious about is, you know, you talked about chapel being so packed because everyone just wanted to get away from the drill instructors. Yeah. Was there a drill instructor, though, that you really appreciate? Like, not that you didn't appreciate all of them, but was there one that was like, you know, man, I really, like, this man really spoke into my life, or this man, like, you could tell he wanted what was best for you, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to describe it, but did you have a favorite?
Honestly, it's weird how it worked, because in the beginning, so like there's
in the beginning,
different.
I hated them all. No.
Well, I mean, honestly,
I know.
So there's
that's
different
part of their role.
That is their job.
Yeah.
But there's different quote unquote hats. So like we had our knowledge hat, our drill hat, and then we had our kill hats. So it is what they sound like. Our drill hat, or our heavy, like they're the experienced drill instructor. Yeah, it's not their first time, so like they're doing pretty much everything. They're like teaching us drill, all that stuff. Our knowledge hat is teaching us knowledge for initial testing, final testing, for TCCC, for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then our kill hats is what they sound like. They're there to like put pain into your body.
Yeah.
And they do it well.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of ours specifically just seemed like from day one was like targeting me. Like he wanted me dead. Like, I mean, it was one of the first times we were in the chow hall, and I laughed at something someone did or said or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, Fails, I will remember that." I was like, "Oh, nice." And I mean, throughout the week, he kept coming up to me. He's like, "Yeah, Fails, I didn't forget."
Is that funny?
Like, nice.
How about this?
And so yeah, I definitely didn't like them. But then towards the end, we were able to pick who gave us our EGA after the Crucible.
Okay.
And I'd picked him just because.
Was that Froyo?
Sergeant Barahona was the one that gave me the my EGA. But because like as you get closer to them, they start to kind of, I'd say like after range weeks, when it's like BWT Crucible weeks, they start to like kind of relax a little bit. And they'll start like actually trying to like teach you stuff, and specifically Sergeant Barahona, he's a infantry Marine, but like by trade. So all the drill instructors, like they didn't join the Marine Corps as a drill instructor. They all have their primary MOSs or jobs, and then like they either volunteered or got voluntold to be a drone instructor.
That happens sometimes.
So yeah, that was his. But like all the knowledge, like he made sure that like we knew all the different like maneuvers and movements, and like he would tell us all this extra stuff about warfighting and everything else. So just being able to get that knowledge from him was really nice, because it really did help us during the Crucible, when like we know what we're doing and we're actually patrolling, and we're in doing these different formations, and then we like look over at other platoons and they're kind of like looking around like, what is that? Like we don't know how to do that. And then the one that Dad mentioned, Sergeant Froyo, this was his first cycle, so like you could tell he's trying to make an impression, which he definitely did.
He succeeded.
Yeah, he absolutely did. So like I mean, I pretty much nobody liked him because, I mean, even up until the Crucible, like he didn't really like actually talk like at all. He was just like slaying us, ITing us, all this other stuff. But then after the Crucible, when like you have your Warriors breakfast after the Crucible, where like your drill instructors actually sit down and eat with you for the first time, and you're allowed to like talk to them openly and have these conversations and whatever. And just being able to talk to them, like turns out he's actually communications also. So I was able to talk to him a lot, like because I had a lot of questions, obviously, about communications. Because originally I went in on an intelligence contract, and they were like, I mean, August 12th, the day I left at MEPS, they're like, well, it's full, so we're actually switching you to communications. It's like, oh, that's nice.
Gotta
Thank
put
you.
the old bait and switch.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So I at that point, like I did a fair amount of research on Intel, so I had a clue of what I was doing. So when they switched to communications, I was like, oh, no, I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Yeah.
So, but he came up to me and he's like, yeah, by the way, like don't have, or he was like, don't be scared to like just come up to me and like ask any questions about whatever. So I was like, oh, absolutely. So I was able to go up to him, and he was able to explain a lot and answer a lot of the questions that I had. So those two definitely made an impact because, I mean, originally like all our instructors, like they're crazy at first, but then when we went towards the end, they're like actually talking to us like people, and then it switches to like we're not trying to like break you, we're trying to like mentor you and teach you like how to be a Marine and how to actually be successful.
They broke you down to the point they needed to.
Right.
Got you through the Crucible. At that point, you proved yourself.
Yeah.
Now we're going to build you up.
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly what it was. So.
Yeah. And it is interesting how, and there's different trains of thought of how to best do it. But obviously the military's had tremendous success over more than a few years. You know, so like having that happen and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now they're human.
Right.
You know.
Well, I mean, everyone was shocked because specifically Sergeant Froyo, everyone afterwards was like, holy crap, like, he's actually like a normal person.
Like he's pretty cool. Like,
Like, I mean, he turned out to be like one of the ones that would talk to us and actually answer most of our questions about the Marine Corps and the fleet and how things worked and whatever else. So
that's awesome. And do you remember that distinctly? How it all changed after the Crucible when you went through? Or?
So I do, and so the one that I really admired a lot. So Micah's experience with his senior drill instructor was very different than mine. That was probably the one he liked the least.
Yeah. Micah's like,
but for me, all throughout boot camp, my senior drill instructor just seemed like that guy. Like that's the Marine I want to be. That's the model Marine. That's the guy. I mean, I had just tremendous respect for him all the way through. And what's funny about that is many years later, when I was a gunnery sergeant, so, I mean, like 12 years later, I had checked into 2nd Radio Battalion. Mm-hmm. I go to report to the Battalion Sergeant Major's office, which is pretty standard, especially for staff NCOs. It's usually your first stop, and I go into his office. And I didn't know it at the time, but there he was, my senior drill instructor. He was the Battalion Sergeant Major of the unit I was checking into. And that was one of the neatest things. We shake hands. He remembered me, which was, I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Like, I feel like
of all the Marines that cycle through, it's like,
but he, we sat down and we actually talked like men, and it's funny because like he ended up being a guy who reenlisted me later after that. We got to really know each other as well while I was at that unit. But that was really neat because he was a guy that I wanted to emulate. I wanted to model my career after his. So we had a couple of drill instructors as well who like just no way. I knew they were doing a job. I knew they had a job to do and they did it well. But I just, I didn't like what I saw with a couple of them, but a couple of them I really did want to emulate. And Staff Sergeant Grigsby at the time, but became Sergeant Major Grigsby. He was definitely the guy. And it was so neat to reconnect with him later in my career. It was a very neat thing. But what Micah was talking about too, about the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, the EGA ceremony at the end of the Crucible, that's the moment. And it's after a 15-kilometer hike. So I don't know what 15K is, probably about 12 miles or something like that.
I don't know.
That's the final
it's about
thing.
10 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the final thing you do at the end of the Crucible. And they time it so that you finish it at sunup. and you hike to the Iwo Jima Monument on Paris Island next to the parade deck, and then they kind of split you up, and then the drill instructors, whichever ones you choose for yourself, like I think they probably split you up by squads based on what drill instructor you chose, and then they come around, they give you that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor in the palm of your hand, and that's the first time that you've earned the title of Marine. Everything you've worked for comes to that moment right there. And so, yeah, that is a really cool moment. I definitely asked my senior drill instructor to be the one to give me mine. I still have mine. You'll probably keep yours forever because that's it's a very special
what you do.
moment. Yeah. So
that's cool. So we talked a little bit about this on Sunday, Rick, and obviously, we go way back.
Right.
And I've known Micah his whole life. I still remember. So, sorry, this is sidetrack. Just to help my memory. When was Addie born?
2009, August 1st, and it was a few weeks before I went to Afghanistan.
Yeah. And so I thought she was just born, and that's why we made a point on our honeymoon to stop by and see you guys for dinner.
Right.
And so goofy little kid running around, because all kids at that age are goofy little kids, and so Micah was running around. I think you maybe were talking a little bit to us, but smiling, But, Angie and I went out to San Diego for our honeymoon, and we traveled up for dinner one night.
Yep.
And just to check in. And I thought Addie had just been born.
Yep.
Because we went in August.
We were living in Temecula.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And so, like, just the vivid memory, and then just, like, how cool it was to see just all of it when you guys were on, posting stuff online. And I talked to you guys, and I mean, I don't know that you know this. It doesn't matter because it didn't happen. But like, I was trying to get my schedule to work and like figure out a way to get down to graduation. Like, and it would have meant like there was no time for me to sleep, to drive all the way down, be there for graduation, and then drive all the way back. And Angie reminded me like that wasn't wise. And so like I was like, yeah, probably. Yeah. But like obviously we've been extremely close with the ranch and everything. Yeah. But it was so cool to see. And I'm just like a guy. So try to put into words. Yeah. As that's what you dedicated your life to, and now your son went through it. Right. Like as you were trying to process, I'm sure it was hard to even like verbalize what it all meant.
It was really hard. And so I actually haven't really even attempted to verbalize it. There's a video that was taken by Brianne, I think, of the moment. So I'm not typically a very emotional guy. That's not me. Yeah. I joke about how the Marine Corps stole all my emotions.
Mike is like, well, I can see where that is.
Yeah. So, I didn't anticipate necessarily getting emotional. Obviously very, very proud, and it was a neat moment. Yeah. But when we walked out, so family day is the day before graduation. Yeah. And that's the first time you actually get to see your kid. And we're in the bleachers. They do a kind of a ceremony, a whole thing, and then they dismiss them. And we're allowed to walk out there and go up and give them a hug and have 5 hours to spend with them. And so we're walking out there. And, of course, Heather gets first hug. And that is exactly the way it should be. Yes. So, we're kind of waiting and letting that moment happen. And I'm fine, right? I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm proud. But I'm emotionally very well in check. Yeah. And then, so she's done hugging him, and I go up to shake his hand and to hug him. And like just the moment, seeing him standing there in his camis, his camouflage uniform, and seeing the up close, the change in the way he looked, and seeing his smile, and it completely broke me. It really did. It completely broke me. Just so many emotions all at once. But, we raise our kids as parents as best as we can, right? We raise them to, when you're raising your kid, you want them, you have things in the back of your mind, but at the end, you want them to be a better version of yourself, hopefully. You do your best, you make mistakes along the way. Yeah. But you pour everything into it. If you're parenting correctly, you pour everything into it. You hope that what you produce in the end is a young adult who is capable and is ready to go further in life than you ever did. And I think I say that because like in that moment, I just, you have this realization like here he is. And that has somehow, by the grace of God, that has happened. And I say by the grace of God, because as with any parent and strong-willed kid, there were moments where I had no idea if we were going to produce that well-functioning, well-adjusted young adult. There were moments that we didn't know if me and Micah would both live to see his age 18, right?
I remember talking through some of those moments
Yeah.
because a lot of your teen years was after he was out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
was
remember
here.
some of those parent discussions at night on Sundays.
Yeah.
And as
man.
Heather would say, I love him. I do not like him at all.
Right.
Yeah.
You have,
You know.
in that moment, you're just like, man, he's a young man.
Yeah.
He has made his decisions. He set his mind to something huge. He accomplished it. I do think that he is better poised physically, mentally, in many areas to be a better Marine than I ever was. And so I'm just, in that moment, it's just kind of all comes together and it's like, man, praise the Lord. Thank God that we're here.
Yeah.
And it's just, a very emotional and just really surreal moment that you cannot, I just attempted it, but it's hard to put words on it. That's why I'm glad Brianne took the video that she took. Because I think the video captured it very well.
Oh, it absolutely did.
Because speaking to it, it's just, that's the best I can come up with.
Yeah.
Is you pour your life into him and you hope for that day. And then it came and it's like, he's here. He's done it. He's got this. And God's going to get him through the rest of it. Heather and I got him this far.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like,
God's going to take him from here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it was cool because the other moment that I loved, that was a pretty great moment. But like the other moment was after your official graduation. And so after church, I was like, oh man, it was cool to see you in your dress blues again.
Yeah.
And then he basically told the story that he showed up in a suit.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't show up in his uniform at all.
Yeah,
at first,
and he said that you would ask like 5 times, like, you going to wear your uniform?
Yeah.
And then it was like, was it one of the like enlisted men or officers or whatever that like you went through to park?
He was a guy that was the head of security because they make everybody go through a lot of security to get in there, which is good. He was a retired Marine.
Okay, he was retired.
So he's, he's head of security. He's at the metal detectors and scanners.
Yeah.
And I went up to him, and the reason why I went up to him is the uniform of the day on Parris Island was dress blue Bravos. Now, that means nothing to most people, but to Marines, it means something very specific, and it's a specific way that you wear the dress blues.
Yeah.
I had not prepared correctly. I brought dress blue Alphas. The difference is...
By the way, I did say Bravos.
Yes.
No, you did.
Yeah,
You did. This was not your fault.
Yeah, just clarifying.
That's why I said I did not prepare correctly.
Yeah.
Because my brain just... either way.
It was elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there I am. Dress blue Alphas is the medals. Dress
Yeah.
blue Bravos is ribbons. Again, most people are like, whatever, but it means something to us. So I went up to this guy and I'm like, listen, and I'm in my suit at the time. I'm like, I've got my dress blues in the car. But I've got dress blue Alphas.
Yeah.
I was like, am I going to stand out like a sore thumb? Am I going to be way out of line to go ahead and put those on? I'm a retired Marine. He asked me what rank. I was like, Master Sergeant. He's like, okay. I was like, I've got them, but they're Alphas. Would I be out of line? Would I be sticking out like a sore thumb? Am I going to look like an idiot if I am wearing that uniform when just about everybody else is wearing their dress blue Bravos? And he looked at me, and there were some words that I'm not going to share here, but it was more or less like, you are out of your mind.
Yeah.
If you're going to let something like that get in the way of you wearing your dress blues for your son's graduation. He's like, I don't know why you're still standing here.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to go back to your car, put those dress blues on, especially if your son asked for them. He's like, I don't care what anybody else says or what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just a uniform. He's like, and oh, by the way, it's Marine Corps ball season, Marine Corps birthday season. We do wear dress blue Alphas for that.
Yeah.
He's like, so what's the difference? Like, yes, go put them on and nobody's going to say boo about it. I'm like, okay. Then that's what I needed to hear. I did. I went back. It took me 5 minutes to very quickly purge the suit, throw on the blues. And then, in the stand. And it was funny, too, because there was this moment, and I know you'll ask him about it, but there was this moment where the graduation was done. We stood up because it was time now to kind of like, the best way I can describe that moment is, when you see a college football team knock off the number 1 seed and the fans rush
Storm
the
the
field.
court.
Yeah. They storm the court, storm the field. Well, that's what happens in that moment.
Yeah.
And I had stood up and I'm looking out at the platoon all the way out at Micah. And there was a moment where I saw that he saw me for the first time.
Yeah.
And I saw him, like, one of his buddies looked and pointed at me. And even though I was hundreds of yards away, I was like, his buddy's probably asking, is that your dad?
Yeah.
I pointed back at Micah, like, yes, I am. I see you, you see me. And we just kind of had that moment from hundreds of yards away.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the first moment that he realized, oh, Dad actually wore his blues.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wasn't the only one that was asking about, like, for weeks.
For
my
sure.
buddies in there were, because they found out either through me telling them or whatever else that he was a mass sergeant. So they were all asking, like, is he wearing his blues? Is he gonna wear them?
He's got to show up, right?
So I was like, I don't know, because for whatever reasons, and they're like,
I'll tell you the reason. There was apprehension because that's tough. I'm proud of my uniform and I'm proud of my service. But
100%.
That was his day.
Yeah, you want it to be his moment.
And I'm so apprehensive about, like, I don't want to overshadow his day and his moment. And I don't want to take anything away from that. I would have actually been more comfortable probably to just be and stay in my suit. But at the same time, you can never get that moment back.
No.
Yeah.
Where he's graduating boot camp for the first time, and I'm retired, so I'm authorized to wear that
Hopefully
uniform.
only time.
Yeah, right, I don't know why I said for the first time.
No, I know what you were saying. That's, yeah. But the cool thing is speak to the fact that, like, it was, the emphasis was on you. It was your day, and that's what you wanted.
Right. I mean, and it was the same with, like, I don't know, everyone else. Because I told them, it was like, I don't know, because it, like, doesn't want to overshadow and all this other stuff. And I mean, like, we're all used to looking up at, like, our drill instructors, and they're all, like, most of them are sergeants. There's a couple of staff sergeants, and there was, like our chief drill instructor was a gunnery sergeant. So that was, like, the height of, like, that was the highest ranks that, like, people are, like, used to looking up to and whatever. So it's like when we're, like, all sitting there and, like, he's coming down, they see, like, Master Sergeant, they're like, oh crap, like, nice. And so, like, that's what, like when he was coming down, they're all like, is that your dad? Like, I was like, yeah. So it's just a cool moment for everyone, really. So
yeah. And it was and again, not in like a puffing up pride way, but a proud moment for you to be like, yeah, it's my dad,
right?
He's gone through all this. He's
earned the right to wear
and
that.
And I think those in the military, especially those that are Marines, like, it is cool that your buddies were just as eager to have him dress, as you were. I mean, not as eager, but, like, they were eager as well,
that,
and so it was one of those things. Like, they wanted to pay tribute to those that went before them, and so that had to be a pretty special moment.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Those were possibly, like, when you guys embraced in your dresses. In your dress blues, I shouldn't have stopped the dress.
Mal, it wasn't that type of ceremony.
That's not it. Yeah, but also when the two of you stood there, just as a picture, like, next to each other, that was pretty cool.
And what you couldn't see in the one photo, if you saw, it looked like we were shaking hands awkwardly, but there was a coin that I had given him in that handshake.
Yeah. Okay. And
it was a coin that had some stuff about the crucible on the back of it and the crucible date. That he finished the crucible. So that was that's why the handshake kind of looked a little awkward, because they call it coining him. So yeah.
And that's cool that you got to do that as well.
It was just the whole day, the whole couple days, the whole experience, just so cool, and still really, quite frankly, kind of coming down from it, right? Like it just, what a week, what a neat thing. I spent most of my years not thinking he was going to follow the footsteps, right? Yeah. And that was fine. He was going to go whatever route. Whatever route he was going to go. But now looking at him, it's like he has begun his career, and he's going to have a lot of the same experiences I did. And most of my experiences were really favorable. They were great. Yeah. I had just the places I traveled to, the experiences I had, the camaraderie with the new friends that I had made, what you go through as Marines, it's nothing in this world really replaces it. And he's going to get to experience those things. And it's just a really neat thing to now be on this side of it, watching him start that process. yeah, just there's a lot of feelings and emotions about it. And there is a lot of pride with that as well. And just excited to see where it takes them. Yeah. Honestly, just really excited to see where it takes them.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for coming in. It extremely proud as well. Obviously, as getting to see you grow up throughout your life and just what your family means to my family. And I would have never thought that either. Yeah. You know, like it just because you got to have a desire to go in.
Strong
like that's
one.
Yeah. There's no like, yeah, I guess I'll do this. You know, like
you won't make it.
Yeah, like you'll get chewed up and spit out. You know,
some people did.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And so I think that was just really cool and excited to see what God has in store for you and what that looks like. Yeah. But thanks for coming on and talking a little bit about it. And thank you again for all those that did serve and are serving. It's something that we're extremely grateful for, and why we have the ability to sit here and talk like this. Right. You know, I mean,
for sure,
that's for sure. But well, thank you for joining us on the Federated Squared Circle, Wrestling with God's Word. We'll see you next week.